gentlemen, please welcome Frankie Boyle!
And welcome to New World Order. This week, Tommy Robinson was sent to jail for 13 months, where he's currently trying to form the Anal Defence League against strong opposition. There's a lot of talk this week about a snap general election, maybe happening in October, and Michael Gove might be a stand-in Prime Minister. Michael Gove with his little oily face. Looks like he'd fall through the hole in a massage table. Looks like he could be killed with salt. The idea is that Michael Gove would be a caretaker Prime Minister and Ruth Davidson would be his number two. The worst number two since the one that Tommy Robinson's been trying to do for the last few days to dislodge a rolled up Quran. Some Russian DJs pranked Boris Johnson. Imagine pranking Boris. That's like playing a card trick on a coma patient. In Ireland, in the referendum, the pro-choice people won, and well done to them. Before this, Irish women, a lot of them had to travel to Liverpool to have a termination, which is tragic, obviously, but at least it's poetic, because every time I hear a Scouse accent, a little something inside me dies. Now it's just Northern Ireland, so Northern Ireland is anti-choice in different ways, right across the whole political spectrum. The DUP are also homophobic. They're against gay marriage for religious reasons, which is ridiculous, because Jesus was gay. It says in the Bible, he rode an ass. We're told that Prince William is to visit Israel and the West Bank. He's not the first member of the royal family to go over there, but he is the first one who isn't leading a crusade. Apparently he's going to be meeting Benjamin Netanyahu. To me, that's one of the all-time great words in a Scottish accent. Netanyahu. Sounds like a really cheap Glaswegian internet package. It's Israel's 70th anniversary, so William will be greeted with a 70-gun salute fired straight into some Palestinians. Of course, there's a real reason that William's going. The real reason that he's going is to perform an occult duty for the royal family. He's going to have an asphyxie wank from the tree in Golgotha that Judas hung himself from. A task that needs to be performed to allow Prince Philip's soul to leave this dimension. Okay, let's get on with the show. Joining me tonight to discuss the week's big topics are Sarah Pascoe, Catherine Ryan, and data journalist Mona Chalabi. Hello.
Hello.
You had a good week?
I have been looking at the news. I have been looking at... Well, do you know what? Because I don't want to make you feel left out, but we've got a WhatsApp group.
I couldn't feel more left out.
We don't have your phone number, so we can't add you. And also, it's because we started off talking about how much we fancied a Carla.
Sarah, the
I just broke the rules.
What's that? Did not say that.
I'm embarrassed. I just broke the WhatsApp code.
You can tell.
So all we talk about on the WhatsApp is...
The news.
The news.
I was looking at the news that they've opened these menopause cafes. Have you seen these?
What? The cat cafe?
Kind of.
We even stroke menopausal women.
It's so weird. The idea is that you like open up a new dialogue about menopause. I'm all for talking more about menopause. I don't think we talk enough about menopause.
I think she just run into Starbucks and shout about it. My vagina is so dry! Oh, have a latte.
Our first motion tonight. The Tory party will put a dying Britain out of its misery. Brexit may transpire to have done the country a great service by keeping one of the most incompetent cabinets in history away from doing any actual governing. Theresa May's whole demeanour now is of a woman being blackmailed because her cleaner knows a dark secret and she's paying her off at the rate of 200 B&H a week. I'm still struggling to work out whether Boris Johnson represents the interface of the public school system and fetal alcohol syndrome, or what happens when Pixar is infiltrated by the last surviving Nazi war criminal. I really do feel there's a kind of inhumanity to the Tory party. I mean, Corbyn, whatever you think of him, at least he seems to be a kind of real person. It's very hard to imagine a Tory MP digging an allotment, except maybe to hide an au pair. Joining us to discuss the Tories, please welcome Holly Walsh. How you doing, Holly?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
You've been following the government, what they're up to?
You can't not, can you? So they're everywhere. It's like they rule this place. Yeah, I've been reading about Brexit now for like a year and a half. I do not understand pretty much any of it, which is what I've got in common with the government. So,
They don't know what they're doing because when they had this vote in the first place, they didn't have a plan of what's going to happen. You know, a bit at the end of the news, where the newsreader would just shuffle the papers. You know, they've been doing that for a year and a half. They're just filling time.
I quite like the dogged insistence of people. It's like you've ordered a pizza based on a rumour that you've heard about toppings. It turns up and it's covered in like pigeon shit and bits of odor eaters and stuff. You're like, just stick it in my face anyway! I ordered it!
Yeah. I mean, the numbers don't really add up. It's like 2/3 of Brits don't think that we're going to get a good deal out of Brexit. But a lot of people are still supporting it regardless.
I didn't think I'd find this as fascinating as I have, but the European Trade Union is such a reflection on how the government's going. So, for example, they've come up with all these variations on what they're going to do if we leave Europe. And Europe haven't agreed to any of it. It's like, I really fancy Idris Elba. I really want to have sex with Idris Elba.
Do you want to join our WhatsApp?
Will I have sex with him in my car, or will I have sex with him in my hotel room? The big problem with all this is that Idris Elba doesn't want to have sex with me. I can get loads of lawyers in. We can talk about all the ways we can have sex, how great the sex is going to be. It doesn't matter if the person who you were trying to make the deal with isn't interested, and that's exactly what we've done with Brexit.
I like Brexit because I like to mix things up. And it's got me supporting things I used to hate. I'm shouting things like, "Go House of Lords," and everybody shut up and listen to Nick Clegg.
With your, will the government put us out of our misery? I feel like we haven't even got into our misery yet. We're still in a big, long traffic jam, queuing up to find out what misery's like at the moment. It's rubbish.
Speak for yourself. Theresa May continues to stagger through the leadership of the party. Here's May doing her best to fend off ITV's probing questions about how she lets her hair down.
If you could have your perfect get-together with your girlfriends on International Women's Day, away from all of the pressures of your job, what would be a perfect night with them, and how would you let your hair down?
Oh, goodness me. I mean, what a question. And I haven't thought about it because actually my International Women's Day is heavily focused on what we're doing on domestic abuse. So it's not going to have the time to have the girls round and have an evening together, I'm afraid. That's a rather different situation.
I'm just saying, on your dream moment, how would you let your hair down with your girlfriends?
Well, I don't think that when you let your hair down, I don't think there's only one way of doing it. I think it depends on the group that you've got, it depends on the time. But as I say, my International Women's Day is rather more focused not on what we can do to enjoy ourselves, but actually on what we can do to help women out there, women who are suffering, women who are being abused, and whose lives are being made a daily living hell.
You've got to laugh. Someone's asked, what's your perfect girls' night in? And you end with the words, a daily living hell.
I like that answer. I think it's an unfair question.
Yeah.
Was she going to tell the truth? I take half of Vicodin and look at my Tupperware collection.
I thought in a second stage of it, you could see running through her mind, she go, I can't say fields of wheat.
I really sympathise with her. I think it's one of those questions where it's a bit of a trick question. She's like, I don't have any good stories, so I'm going to avoid this.
She seems gone, though. She seems like you find a mortally wounded animal at the side of the road. I think if that presenter had gone out to the boot of her car and come back with a tyre iron and beat her to death, 2/3 of Theresa May's personalities would have felt relieved.
I think Theresa May is really persistent. People keep saying she's weak. All of Britain just wants her to stop messing up and talking, but she won't stop.
Aren't we trying to normalise her a little? I mean, she looks like she'd pull a child into a black and white photo. You know?
It's true about the International Women's Day thing. It isn't like a party day. It's because of FGM and stuff. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, just an excuse to get together.
Let your hair down.
No, but her response wasn't, this is what we need to talk about because this is what's important. She genuinely couldn't think of a single friend.
Yeah, she could.
She's busy.
No.
Busy.
Maybe a lot of her friends have been killed like the 2 women in Britain a week by domestic abuse.
But that was actually part of an interview where she refused to guarantee funding for women's refuges.
Yeah, she's tricksy.
Yeah.
She's tricksy like that. You were talking about Repeal the Eighth, which has happened in Ireland, which is so fantastic. But now Northern Ireland, obviously, British women should be extended the same rights, but her relationship with the DUP makes this impossible. And she's now really skirting this issue of if she's even a feminist, because there's this basic human rights issue that her political alliance means she can't even talk about. And I wonder she's sad.
She's got a tough job. I mean, I think it's the worst time in 70 years to be British Prime Minister, and she wants that job. I don't.
There is something a little alien about, you know, the whole kind of Tory cabinet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Jeremy Hunt. I don't know how, unless you are getting off on it, can do the things that he's doing to the NHS.
Yeah, but at least he is one of the few Tories who has a plan and is carrying it out.
No, he said really, really recently that the NHS isn't in crisis. How on earth he could possibly utter those words is petrifying.
No, but I mean, that's what he's doing. He's just taking apart the NHS. Like, that's his plan, and he's carrying it out, and he's going to get it done.
I sort of wonder if Jeremy Hunt gets abused so much in the street that he just kind of tunes it out. You know, like someone who lives beside a railway track. Maybe he can't get to sleep without it. Darling, could you call me an arsehole for 20 minutes while I drop off? Anyway, the Tories are deeply divided, especially by Brexit. Since the decision to leave, backbenchers like Jacob Rees-Mogg have become more vocal. A young Rees-Mogg was interviewed by Radio 4 in 1981 and asked what motivates him. Here's his troubling response.
The money. I like the money. And also, it's very pleasing if you get it right and they go up.
What do you do with the money then?
Well, I either reinvest it or buy antiques. Antique silver. Oh, I hope to have the job at GEC by the time I'm 30. Unless it is nationalised, which no doubt if Tony Benn gets it, he'll ruin the rest of the country as well, but never mind. Conservatives will come back and put it right.
The sort of voice you'd hear trying to lure you into a well.
I just think the danger is everyone just thinks he's a cartoon character that isn't real, because that's what we all thought with Trump, and it turns out like he's a real person.
Yeah.
Well, he sort of is a cartoon character, and like a lot of Tories, he's kind of developed a personality through trying to lure his father out from behind the Daily Telegraph. Oh, please love me.
He's power mad. If David Cameron would allegedly put his penis in a pig, this guy would wank off a giraffe to get
It's weird because he's got like 6 kids and he seems such an asexual.
So, and he's got the same nanny, hasn't he? It's my favourite fact about him. So his nanny, who brought him up, is now his children's nanny and still lives in the same house.
Oh my
So it is a completely different existence.
She's
Yeah,
still
and-
his nanny.
No, what's really creepy is she died 20 years ago.
The other thing that's weird is that May, even though she's deeply unpopular right now, she's still more popular than Corbyn, even despite all of the handling of this. So there was like polls that asked on specific like leadership traits. So like she's more likely to be considered a capable leader, more likely to be considered good in a crisis, more likely to be considered as having sound judgment and understands the problems facing Britain. She just beats Corbyn on all of those measures.
But why is Corbyn behind her? Is it like media framing? Labour get very little screen time.
Yeah.
I think it's a deeper thing than that. I think it's partly about how politics has become so tribal now, and each of the respective parties kind of has their own demographic group that looks very different. So again, like 2/3 of people in this country who are over 70 are Tory voters, whereas 2/3 of those under 24 are Labour voters. Like, the age is like this big divide. They're not even trying to appeal to these different groups because that's not who they need.
Now, Boris Johnson remains a big problem for me. Here he is on the Today programme offering his baffling take on the problem of a hard Irish border.
There's no border between Islington or Camden and Westminster. There's no border between Camden and Westminster, but when I was Mayor of London, we anaesthetically and invisibly took hundreds of millions of pounds from the accounts of people travelling between those two boroughs without any need for border checks, whatever. There are all sorts of things.
You can't compare two boroughs of London with the kinds of difference in the arrangements that would be in place between the UK and the EU.
It's a very relevant comparison.
Because we all remember the troubles between Camden and Islington.
It's amazing that he's saying that we charge people from going from one to one, obviously with Oyster cars on the tube. It doesn't mention like the millions who just walked freely throughout the boroughs.
Also, if some of those people who were walking had rocket launchers and firm views on Irish history. I think Britain's really forgotten quite how feisty the people of Northern Ireland can be. You know? I did a gig there a couple of years ago. There was a boycott and a picket and stuff, right? An occupational hazard. So two people turn up to meet me from the boat to take me into the gig, and one of them is like a heavyweight boxer, he looks like, or something, right? And he comes up to me and goes, I'm an advisor. And my support act is quite a jolly character. He went, what would you say if I said you look like something a wee bit more than an advisor? He went, I'd advise you to shut the fuck up. So, in conclusion, here at the show, we've been leaked the minutes of the last cabinet meeting. Exciting stuff. We've had it confirmed that these are absolutely genuine. The meeting commences when Philip Hammond coughs the skull of a robin against an ancient bell. The members of the cabinet form a writhing sex knot. The cabinet secretary's job is to occasionally step in and untangle them like headphones. David Davis sips slowly from a hip flask of medical-grade heroin. He is unaware that he is urinating. Raising the pension age is proposed by a figure that ancient Babylonians would have understood as both death and shame, through the twitching, palsied lips of Michael Gove. Chris Grayling French kisses an owl so hard it takes 15% off the minimum wage. Boris Johnson is late. When he finally manifests, he anchors himself by knotting his foreskin to a table leg. Jeremy Hunt's face changes to that of Britain's last hanging victim, and black crystal tears fall from his eyes and shatter on the desk as he receives instructions from the lingerie-clad skeleton of Margaret Thatcher, now a mid-ranking concubine in hell. But of course, all the really interesting stuff is redacted. Thanks to Holly!